In the last section, we pushed our application up to GitHub, and you might have noticed that GitHub rendered this README file quite nicely as HTML. Let's take a look at that here. Now it's tempting to click on this README, but this is the Cloud9 README. What we want is this here, the README generated by Rails. Now if you look at this file, you might recognize it. This is a format known as Markdown, thus the .md. And this is a convenient human-readable format that's easy to convert to HTML for display on the web. We're going to do it using a technique called branching, which I wouldn't ordinarily use for this small a change. But just as using Hello World as a very simple program in order to get everything else working, here we're going to make a very simple change in order to learn the mechanics of branching and then merging back into the master branch. Let's get started by checking out a new branch. Remember, I could do get co here because of the alias, but for completeness, I'll type get checkout -b for branch, and then I'll put in the branch name. Let's say modify README. Let's look at the branches with get branch. Now you can think of a branch as essentially a copy of our project, where any changes are made independently of any other branches. As you might guess, Git is smarter than that, and it doesn't make a full copy of everything. But this is really convenient for making changes in a self-contained way, so that if we did something really horrible, we could just not merge it back into master. All right, let's improve the README here. The hash symbol there is a top level heading, and then we can make a second level heading like this. Hello world. So here asterisks sets the text as italics, and the brackets indicate that I'm going to make this a link like this. So the brackets are the text, and then in parentheses, I can put the link. Now you might have noticed here that it's spilling across here. I'd like to wrap this text for convenience. Maybe view wrap lines. Yeah, there we go. Let's put this here. Make a link. My website at michaelhartl.com, and then have a friendly greeting. Hello world. Let's check the status. All right, we've got a modification. We can also look at the difference with git diff. It's mostly deleting things, as you might expect. It says here no new line at end of file. It's actually a good practice to include that. A lot of editors include it automatically. This is nice for several reasons. If you just cat it with the cat command, it's covered in Learn Enough command line. You can see here at the end, we have hello world and then the prompt right away. That's not very nice, and so it's a good practice to include a new line here. So here we go. There we go. All right, this is ready to be committed. Before we did git add -A, but here we haven't actually added any files, so we don't have to do that. We can do this, git commit -A, meaning all of the current changes, then -M for message, improve the README file. And in fact, you can combine these two, git commit -am, which is what I would usually type. So we've made our changes on the modify README branch. Now let's go back to master. You can see that the README reverts. That's because we made the change only on the other branch. So to get that change into the master branch, we can use the git merge command. The Cloud IDE system is configured to let you do a tab here. That tab completion is really useful, especially when you have longer branch names. Learning how to configure a native system with tab completion is covered in Learn Enough Git to be dangerous. Okay, let's do the merge. And there it is. Now the change has been incorporated into the master branch, which is Git's default. Let's do git branch again. You can see that modify readme is still there. There's an asterisk indicating that master is the branch we're currently on. And as you might have noticed here, modify readme, master, I noted that before. This is a nice piece of configuration. It lets us know right in the prompt which branch we're on. It's a good practice when you're not going to use a branch for anything else to delete it. And we can do that with git branch -d for delete. This lowercase d will delete the branch only if it's safe to do so. In other words, only if it's been merged into master. So let's do this, mo tab, and that worked. Now, if you wanted to delete a branch no matter what, just say to git really delete this no matter what's going on, it's just -D. As a final step, let's push it up to GitHub. Now before there was a longer command. It was git push -u origin master. But that set up the configuration such that for subsequent pushes, we only have to type git push. Let's refresh here. And there we are. As promised, GitHub has converted the markdown into HTML, with the top level heading, a second level heading, and a couple of links. We can also see here, readme.md, here's the new readme, but we can also look at the history. This is the initial commit, and then this is our change, like that. As mentioned, using Git for version control gives us a way of recovering from errors, of backing up our project, of collaborating with others, and as we're about to see, deploying our application to production.